Hi everyone, Katie here again for today's lesson. Today is all about um, auditory sensory activities and kind of incorporating a little bit of training in regards to keeping dogs calm. So today's lesson is actually pretty short, so I'll just get right to the point. In regards to auditory enrichment activities, there are not a lot of activities per se that you have to have equipment for or you have to kind of plan in advance. But auditory, sensory activities and enrichment are just as valuable as other types of enrichment activities that you're going to be doing throughout the course of the 8 weeks. So we did want to make sure to touch on it. A lot of the activities that we actually do enrichment in regards to sounds when it comes to dogs in the shelter. At the shelter, we actually have a white noise machine, so it does play different tracks. So it does white noise, it does, I believe it does like crickets, waves, just anything that's kind of different than just hearing everyday sounds. We also have a Google Mini that we're now learning how to use. I haven't learned how to use it, but other people have. And so that offers us the opportunity to not only play just any day music, but we can play kind of other kinds of music for the dogs, as well as other kinds of sounds such as birds or woodland creatures, things like that. A lot of the times what we're trying to do in the shelter is just provide an opportunity where the dogs can hear different kinds of sounds, especially like a lot of outdoor sounds that maybe they're not going to be hearing because they are in the shelter and in their kennels a lot more than maybe that they would be in a foster home. So we try to incorporate that. We also have kind of a schedule. So every week we'll come up with a couple of different sounds that we try to do with the dogs to determine, is this a sound they like? Is it something we should take out of rotation? Just to make sure that they get that enrichment. We also use silence as a type of sound activity as well. If a dog is hearing the same kind of music or the same NPR, or if they're hearing, just like at one point we were playing crickets a lot, they start to tune that out. So we did incorporate having quiet time where even if it's just 15, 20 minutes where there's just nothing on, there's no people talking, there's nothing, that's just as much enrichment as them hearing things. So just know that enrichment isn't always having to do stuff. Sometimes it is actually taking a step back and really doing nothing. That's just as fulfilling, and it helps to kind of bring dogs down, bring their threshold down so that they're a little bit more calm. So, the other thing about auditory, sorry, I have my notes on my phone. The other thing about the auditory is just that some dogs like certain sounds and other dogs don't. So just know that you will be incorporating and trying different things. Sound is really helpful for acclimating puppies. And if you have a feral foster, that can be really beneficial as well, just to get them acclimated to everyday sounds. Flushing a toilet, doing some dishes, hearing the clanking when you're putting the dishes away, running a dishwasher, a vacuum. Those can be overwhelming and scary for dogs. So doing some of these activities to slowly incorporate them so that they realize that they're not as scary can be really beneficial. So I want to kind of just provide you guys with a couple of tools that I use here at my home. So like I said, at the shelter, we have a white noise machine. We also have a Google Mini. Here in my home, I actually... don't make fun of me, but I don't have internet. So my internet is all through my phone. So I want to show you one of the apps that I use. One thing I do splurge on is having Sirius XM. I have it in my car, but I have it as an app on my phone as well. And they have different stations that play different kinds of music. One that can be really beneficial for dogs is, I'm going to play it in the background, is just jazz music. It's a little bit, this one is a little bit faster tempo, but there are slower jazz music stations that can be beneficial as well. Other stations that can be played are like native woodwinds, or even just one that is like a spa soundtrack where it's just like kind of calming in the background. Those can be really beneficial. Another app, and I should say the Sirius XM one is one you have to pay for, but an app that I do use that actually is free. Let's see if I can show you. Sorry, it's a little blurry. This one right here is called the Calm app. But on the app itself, there is a little spot where you can select music. And I'll see if you can see this. Some of them have these like little locks on the top, which basically means that those are ones that you have to pay to have access to. But they have a whole bunch that, let's scroll down here, a whole bunch that actually don't have that little mark at the top, which means you can listen to those ones for free. So I'm going to play one of those. It's just like, I mean, it is music, it's instrumental, but it's just very calming and soothing. And oftentimes I do play this. Well, now that I work from home, I play it a lot more than often than I have in the past. But the soothing kind of music can be really beneficial to start off with training a dog when it's time, kind of like time to get quiet or time to calm down. So you can actually start by, if a dog is already sitting and is already calm in their crate, you can actually turn something on, this kind of music, to start having that association that when this is on, it means that we're quiet and we're calm. And gradually this will start building into a routine where the dog knows that this is downtime, this is quiet time for me. For fosters, it's really important because if you have a dog that is always on the go and always like rambunctious and wanting attention and like kind of mouthy and just won't leave people alone, sometimes that can be a little bit harder to adopt out. Whereas if you have a dog that sort of knows some of the cues to, okay, now I still want to be around you and I still want your attention, but I'm just going to be calmer about it, it can be kind of a better selling point as well. So just know that there are links between having the auditory as well as having just quiet time, what I refer to as the do nothing time. I know not every family likes the do nothing, and there are people who like to constantly be on the go. I'm not one of them. So Bowie and I do have a practice of our quiet time where like this music will be on and he'll be laying and I'll be petting him, and he knows that when I'm petting him, we're calm, we're quiet. So one thing I do want to kind of show you, and I'm sorry that it's on my phone, I don't know how to share this on a screen, like there's no way for me to switch over to screen sharing, but one of our current fosters actually was doing some sound enrichment, not knowingly, but was doing it with her foster. And so I want to kind of show you what that looks like. So I'm going to try to get it so that you guys can see it, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. So basically it's bird sounds. And so this is, I believe it's Dylan, and he's just really intrigued by like, what is that sound? And obviously like it's holding his attention. And so that's again, kind of what the enrichment activity is about, is something that they're willing to participate in. He's so funny. And I believe I have another one. I'll share it real quick. They were actually playing Mariah Carey, and his reaction is kind of funny. His ears are perked and he's like, what is going on? So again, it doesn't have to be calm, quiet music. It doesn't have to be people talking. It can just be your everyday music. But just make sure that if you are, and now it's probably not as much of a big deal, but if you are leaving for the day and say you are leaving like NPR on all day, just make sure when you are coming back that you're giving the dogs some time where there's not any sound, just so that they can kind of reset and recalibrate. So thank you guys all for joining on this one. I know this one's probably a little different than what most of our enrichment activities will be. But if you do try any different sounds with your dogs, kind of like what they did with Dylan, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'll actually share one for Bowie. So about a year ago, I was watching Lady and the Tramp, and there was one particular scene that just captured his attention, and I just thought it was so funny. So I'll make sure to share that with you guys, but if anybody does any, please just feel free to share. Thanks, and have a good night. And also, thank you for being patient. I know that this was supposed to go earlier. Sorry for some tech issues.